Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Hitman, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Tell me, you did not just say the jobs in Konoha. 9 said, his blue eyes staring into Tsunde's own. I did, Tsunade said before taking a large bite from her S. Gaara and Yugito sat nibbling on their own SS, watching and waiting for the verbal explosion. Shizune had taken her SS back to her desk to continue working, letting the two blondes talk it out. 9 looked at the others. How much did she drink? Not too much, Yugito said. She was sober when the messenger came. 9 sighed. Bar-chan, you know that I refuse to work for or around Konoha. He said. No choice, Tsunade said. We're all going for this one. We are, Shizune asked from the desk. We are, Tsunade said with a nod. 9 stood up. Have fun. Send me a postcard. He made his way towards the stairs, but Tsunade's voice stopped him. I'm calling in your marker. 9 stopped and looked over his shoulder. You're wasting that on Konoha? He asked. She gave him a brief but firm nod. I knew that called you the legendary sucker Bar-chan, but this is even a bad call for you. He sighed. I hope whatever the job is, it's worth it. He said, going to get ready while Gaara and Yugito inhaled their pizza. So do I, brat. So do I, Tsunade muttered. XX. 12 Tails Lab. Say the team's tech person was moving around the lab. Tables loaded down with weapons and half-started projects. The center of the room was a large platform that the three Jinchuriki swore she stole from a Star Trek convention. Say herself was a small woman, standing 5'2", she had ankle-length light brown hair that was in a braid and tied with a yellow ribbon. She was wearing a pair of pajama pants, fluffy bunny slippers, a white baby crop tee and her lab coat. A pair of round wire-frame glasses perched before her soft chocolate brown eyes and a smile as she moved about the room. Light glinting off the studded dog collar she wore. Hey say, 9 said as the group entered. 9, she said. Your gear prepped, make final checks. She said as she moved back to a computer. The three Jinchuriki looked at the bags with their respective numbers. Yugito pulled out several blades and a whip and claws with forearm guards. She was the team's up-close fighter. I put the new gear you requested in there as well. Sei said. Yugito pulled out several burglary tools and after checking them nodded. Cat burglar. Funny. 9 teased and the girl stuck her tongue out. Gaara's bag held explosives as he was the team's demolition expert. He also picked up some scrolls and raised an eyebrow. Sei from her spot at the computer noticed. It's a summon scroll. I had Temari take and bury the other one in the desert so you can have access to an unlimited amount of sand. She explained. Just add a drop of blood and some chakra to activate it, then again to shut it off. Gaara nodded as his gourd melted into a long coat. He slid the scroll into the pocket on his thigh and went back to checking his explosives. 9 picked up his bag and pulled the zipper open and peeked in. Sei waited until he pulled out a pair of 1911 Colt 45s. I bored the chambers and customized the triggers, added some compensators. She said and Naruto looked up. They used to be pretty good, but now they're nail drivers. Naruto smiled as he removed his old .45 and put it on the table. He slid out of his old holster rig and into the new one. The guns were well hidden by his duster. You've got the standard rounds, armor piercing, tracking rounds, tranquilizer rounds, rubber bullets and paint rounds. He saw his sniper rifle. You finish? Yes. Stop using it for bashing idiots over their heads. Sei said as Naruto picked that up. And please leave me a couple of those elemental caster shells to study this time. However you and the fox made them. Stays with us, sorry Sei. 9 said. That is a secret I can't share. The team's gadget person sighed. I just want to help you. I know, and appreciate all you do. 9 said. But, the caster shells are ancient tech and Q feels it's best that no one knows how to make them except me. I don't use them except for, he shrugs. Okay. I also got you guys the military grade armor. Your headsets have been isolated to a special frequency. Sei says, moving about her lab. She looks at Shizune, who is checking her needle guns over and a scroll. I added several new shells to your baby. Shizune smiles as she pats the scroll, and next to her Tsunade shudders. I blame you, Gaki, for her liking that thing. 9 shrugs. Nei-chan knows what she likes. So, where's mine? Tsunade asked, and everyone freezes. The 3 Biju who are creeping around the edge of the lab freeze, their eyes go wide in fright. Bar-chan, you don't get a gun. 9 says. The other 2 Jinchuriki went back to checking the gear, letting the whisker-marked blonde deal with their boss. Why? Tsunade demanded. Because you're a menace. Stick with what you know. Tsunade pouts. Nearly shoot a Biju while picking up a gun, and they hold it against you for life. She mutters. Sei smiles. I did get you new armor, and some gadgets I borrowed from London's Q branch. She held up a watch. It's got a built-in tracking device, a dart shooter with tranquilizer rounds. 2 shots, she said. She then held up a hand fan. Dual purpose. It can keep you cool. She flutters it. Or attack. She whips around and throwing daggers launch out and impale the target. I also got you a new communicator and mic set. She held up a pair of earrings and a choker with a gem in it. You've been busy, Shizune said while her blonde mentor and friend looked at her new toys. I don't sleep much. Cut back on the calf pows. 9 interjected. Sei growled at the whiskered blonde. I'll stop with my addiction, when you 3 leave yours. Point. 9 said as he made adjustments to his scope and slipped the sniper rifle over his shoulder. The 3 Jinchuriki were dressed in long coats. 9 had a face mask which he pulled up covering his lower face. Gaara had a hood and a pair of sunglasses. Yugito wore a mask and cowl that looked like a cat's head. It connected to her outfit under the black long coat. Tsunade wore her usual jacket and Shizune was in her travel clothes. She looked at Sei. You don't mind watching Tonton, do you? The team's inventor and tech smiled warmly. Not at all. He's a good pig. Thanks. It's just he's getting old and I don't think the excitement of a mission would be good for him. No worse than that job in Ontario. 9 muttered. Shizune rounded and pointed at Gaara and 9. You 2 nearly blew him up. Bacon. Gaara intoned. Tonton made a squeal in remembrance of that day and hid under Sei's computer desk. The 3 Biju made snickering sounds. You 3 get up here. Sei ordered, patting a lab table. I have your new collars. Q jumped up. Collars. Bar. Stow it, fuzzbutt. 9 said. The tracking devices and communicators are standard equipment. Unless you want Sei-chan to surgically insert them. Imro, collars are fine. Nibi said, sitting next to the fox. They itch. Shukaku whined as Sei lifted him up next to the other 2. Stop whining. Gaara intoned. I made 'em of new material. Sei said, removing the old collars and putting on the new ones. Tags. Q roared, hearing the light jingle. You're making us wear tags. Licenses. Sei countered. This is so humiliating. The fox whined. You could always go back to your seal. 9 said. Fine. But this is under protest. Q said as he scratched, the light jingle sound irritating the fox more. Where's Temari? Gaara asked. Here. They all turned to see the blonde with her fans across her back and a pump shotgun in her arms. What kept you? Gaara asked of his sister. Making sure my garden would be fine until we got back, and before that I was working on the car. 9 smiled. Who knew a girl who'd never driven before would be the best wheelman ever? Wheel girl. She corrected and pinched his ear. At least I have my license. 9 shrugged. The Biju could do much, but driving seemed out of their skill range. Temari had taught her brother and Naruto ninja skills, Yugito helped, but the 2 boys seemed to prefer modern weaponry or their elements over ninjutsus. 9 for transport. Tsunade said. Sei walked to a control panel. Step into my parlor, she said, gesturing to the transporter pad. They took their spots, the Biju at their partner's feet. Bodyslide. Tsunade said, closing her eyes. Damn thing makes me nauseous. She thought as Sei's hands worked the control. Energizing. She said. Safe journey, see you all later. They were soon enveloped in light and gone. Sei looked at the map and watched as it left the modern world and passed the veil. She saw that her targeting was 2 miles away from Konoha. Looking at Tonton, she sighed. Just you and me then. Know any good movies? XX. Fire Country. Gar. I hate that thing. Sunad said as she shivered after they reappeared. 1, 2, pyramid formation. 9 said. Wait. Sunad said. Keep casual. She said. We're expected. 9 looked at her before pushing his shades up. Casual formation Alpha 5. He intoned. Shizune watched as the blonde turned and began walking. I think you should tell them the job. She said. No. I want more information before we take it. If Konoha lies, we're out of here. The blonde said as she walked. It's a mistake. Shizune said, shouldering her pack. Around them the three animals roamed. It looked innocent, but they were looking out for trouble. I'm not counting on my luck. Sunad said, her eyes on Nine's back. I'm counting on his. Silence followed the group until the gates of Konoha came into view. From where they were they could see the tension in Nine's whole body skyrocket. Yugito leaned over to Gaara and whispered. Think Sunad will keep the peace. Sic vis pacem, parabellum. Gaara intoned. At his friend's look he translated. It's Latin. If you want peace, prepare for war. His shade-covered eyes landed on his friend and his brother Jinchuriki. Naruto Uzumaki is S. He SD here 15 years ago in prison. Konoha is going to be seeing 9, a contractor and the world's best shooter. He looked back at Yugito. He won't do anything for revenge. It's not a valid motive, it's an emotional response. And we both know that Nissan on jobs is like ice. His gaze went back to 9. Yugito added her own thought. Alright, if not vengeance, you can bet there will be a lot of punishment handed out. Gaara nodded. It would be like you or I returning to our villages. Kumo wouldn't be standing, and Suna would be swallowed by the desert. She said. And here, the leaf will burn. What I did during the invasion will be nothing compared to what our brother will do if pushed and or annoyed. Gaara said in his usual monotone voice. Behind them Shizune thought one thing. Konoha's fed. The pay better be worth this. She said to Sunad. They paid 500,000 just to meet. Sunad said. The job is promising a lot more. I've got a bad feeling about this. Shizune muttered as they caught up to 9 who stopped to wait before they reached the gates. His jacket was thrown back, and they all knew it was so he could grab his Colt should trouble arise. Really bad feeling, she thought, knowing that no matter how much Konoha paid, the money would be worthless if 9 got pissed. Stained in blood, she thought. Halt. The 6 stopped as the gate guards appeared from the hiding spots. Identification and reason for visiting Konoha. Sunad held up the papers that had been left with her, as well as her Konoha ID. Lady Sunad, the guard said in surprise. Yes, she said blandly. The guard looked at the papers with the Hokage's seal and then at her companions. Their identification, he asked, gesturing to the 3 Jinchuriki. You don't need to see their identification, she said coldly. Milady, you don't understand the rules. They are my guards and they don't have names that you need to know. She said. Shizune showed her own ID. I'm her apprentice, she said with a grin. The guards looked at the 3. You will wait here then and remove your weapons. 9 snorted. Don't think so, asshole. We're her guards, you think we'd let a chicken S village dictate what we do? Sunad held up a hand. Very well, she said, and the 3 Jinchuriki and their animals that were hidden looked at her in shock and betrayal. Tell the Hokage then that he can meet us here, she said, and 9 and the others relaxed. Milady, that is, the guard began, but she cut him off. I could care less about what he thinks and wants. He asked to see us about a job. My employees don't go anywhere without their weapons. Even the fire daimyo understands this. Now either let us pass, or toddle off and tell Danzo he can meet us here. If he decides not to, then we'll leave within half an hour. Sunad walked away from the gate and sat down on a small boulder. Shizune looked at the guards and shrugged before being followed by 9 and the others. Lady Sunad, she hissed once she was next to her mentor. I am not here to play Danzo's games, Sunad said as she watched one of the guards rush off. We'll see in half an hour if it really is important or some more of their bulls. 9 leaned against a tree, his eyes on the gates. Temari took up a spot near him. This is a mistake. We should walk away now. Easy brat, Sunad said. Kyubi leapt to her lap and she began to pet the fox. The cat and raccoon both glared, jealous that the fox got there first. The group didn't even wait 10 minutes before a squad of Anbu came towards them. Oh, playtime. 9 said as he eased his stance and his hands slid to the shoulder harness and his Colts. Yugito and Gaara put themselves to the side and in front of Tsunade and Shizune and the 3 animals. Stand where you are, 9 said. You are to come with us. The lead Anbu said. Nice diplomacy you have there. Yugito purred, her hand at her sides holding the thin throwing blades. Hand over your weapons and come with us now, the dog-masked Anbu said. Kiss my ass, 9 said with a grin behind his scarf. The Anbu tensed. I take it Danzo's not coming down then. Tsunade said. We are to escort you to him. Neko Anbu said. Let's go children. Tsunade said and turned walking away from Konoha. Where are you going? Inu demanded. I came to speak with a client, not be ordered around and my employees and guards sts down to make us easy targets. Tsunade said. This is Konoha, that would never happen. Inu said. Really? Like Konoha wouldn't throw an innocent boy into prison. Like Konoha wouldn't put a bounty on the same boy when he left after being released. Tsunade asked, raising an eyebrow. Or how about the hunter nin that came for me when I refused to return to Konoha? Tsunade tried again. She took several steps before there was a loud bang and 2 boss hit the ground. She turned to see Inu laying on the ground holding his wrist, his hand destroyed. Another one wearing the boar mask was a slender throwing blade buried in the man's en. Her gaze rested on 9 who stood with his Colts drawn, one aimed at Inu, the other pressed to the mask of Tora Anbu. Thou shalt not touch Lady Tsunade without permission. 9 intoned. Amen. Gaara muttered. Tsunade saw a pair of explosive patches and knew that he was ready to cover their escape. Stand down. Tsunade said and the 3 assassins stepped back, Yugito pulling her blade from the Anbu's corpse. 9 stepped back and lowered his guns, that was his concession, while Gaara kept his explosive patches out and ready. You bastard. Inu med. You'll live, 9 said. Should have ked him, you're getting soft. Yugito teased. Stow it 1. 9 said with a growl. Lady Tsunade, please come with us. Your guards may keep their weapons. 9 snorted, like any of you ninja can take them. Temari who had been waiting took her hand off her shotgun and saw Shizune slip the needle gun out of sight. Let's go then, Tsunade said with a fake grin. The Anbu formed up around them, one of them staying with the injured Inu and S-Boar. They walked the main street, 9's eyes scanning for danger. Not a damn thing's changed. New face on the monument. Shizune said. 9 looked and saw Danzo's face. That shouldn't be there, he hissed. Gaara agreed. The village seemed to have recovered from the invasion all those years ago. It has been a decade and a half, he reasoned. 9 saw the palse where Ichiraku's ramen stand used to be, it was an empty lot, grown over. We're being followed, Yugito said low into the communicator they all carried. Rooftop. 9 agreed. He saw the shadows from the sun and shook his head. And they are professional shinobi. The group reached the tower ignoring the looks from many villagers who seemed curious about the strange group. Their eyes noticing the fox got hard looks. Entering the tower they went to top floor and stopped in the waiting room. 9 saw a pink-haired woman at the desk going over papers and making notes. Haruno, inform the Hokage that his guests have arrived. Tora intoned. The pink-haired Sakura Haruno looked up. Have a seat, she said. The girl entered the office and came out a moment later. He will see you now, she said, then her eyes landed on the fox. Your animals will wait here. She was ignored as Yugito entered the room first with Nibi. Temari and Shizune were next followed by Gaara and Shukaku, the raccoon sitting on his owner's shoulder. 9 paused at the desk, looked at the girl he once had a crush on and snorted before entering the office with Kyubi on his shoulder. Tsunade, the years have been kind to you. Danzo said. On either side of him were his advisors, Koharu and Homura. Funny. You look like crap, she said ignoring the scoff from the 2 old farts that used to be her sensei's teammates. The role of Hokage is difficult and very consuming. I used to envy Sarutobi, now, he shrugged. You paid for this meeting Danzo, speak. Tsunade said taking the chair while the others spread out. Temari and Shizune stood in mirror positions on either side of her, while 9 leaned against the windowsill. Gaara was by the main door and Yugito leaned against a bookcase. You will address him with the proper respect, Koharu said. I'll address him any damn way I want to, Tsunade said to the advisor. I am no longer part of this village. My travel rights can only be revoked by the Council of Daimyos and you aren't them. Danzo held up a hand to stop Koharu's rant. Tsunade, I didn't bring you here to fight. I have heard of your employees' skills and I would like to hire them to do several jobs that seem beyond the skills of our Anbu. I'm listening, she said. The first job is we need you to hunt down and kill Orochimaru. Tsunade laughed. I broke his back and left him for S in a gutter. He's back, Danzo said. He had help acquiring a body and transferred his soul to it. He looked at his advisors and sighed. There is a second part of this job. One of our Jonin has been compromised. Tsunade's eyes narrowed at hearing her former teammate was back and had used that jutsu to get a new body. Compromised? She asked. Homura spoke next. Sasuke Uchiha was infected with the curse seal by Orochimaru while on a mission with his Genin team. The Genin SD and Sasuke was brought back to Konoha. We thought it was sealed by his former teacher Kakashi Hatake, but the seal used required. It required the Uchiha's will to fight it. He didn't and has gone to Orochimaru for power to K Itachi Uchiha. 9 snorted. So, you want us to K your runaways? They are new Nin, each with substantial bounties. 9 stepped away from the window. No. Tsunade looked at the one person she thought of as her son. You sure? She asked him. I won't hunt for them. He said. There's more. Danzo said. There always is. 9 said from behind his scarf. Sasuke Uchiha when he left, KPED Hinata Hyuga. Her clan wants her back. We need a moment to confer. Tsunade said and they huddled near the corner. Naruto, she said in a harsh whisper. No Bar-chan. There is more that they aren't telling us. 9 said. I agree. Gaara said. Get the rest of the details. Also we collect the bounties, but we also get paid for the job. Yugito voiced her agreement. We're not a charity. It sounds like they want us to take the risks and are hoping to pay us with the bounty only. Temari snorted. Bet they'd Welsh on that. Shizune. Tsunade asked her apprentice and friend. I agree with all they say. Homura is nervous and keeps looking at Danzo. Tsunade agreed. Back to the table. She retook her seat. That's all good, but what aren't you telling us? We've told you everything. Koharu said. Lie. Strike 1. 9 intoned. We also need to negotiate on the fee. Tsunade said in a bored tone. Fee. Homura said. You'd get the bounties. This is non-negotiable. You want us to perform rescue, extraction and assassination, it will cost you more than a few bounties. Orochimaru is worth. I don't care how much the bounties are. There is more going on than a simple hit. Tsunade said annoyed. Now, you will tell us what else you've left out, or we walk away. Tsunade counted to 20, and stood. Wait, Danzo said ignoring his advisors. There is a couple of complications. Orochimaru is the leader of the hidden sound village filled with Nuke Nin, and there is also the Akatsuki, a group of S-rank Nuke Nin. 9 growled. He had heard of the Akatsuki while he was traveling. He knew what they wanted. All your information on them and the targets and the rest of the mission. He said. And I mean everything. Including everything on sound. He then looked at Tsunade. Negotiate the price. He told her. Tsunade smiled as she pulled a flask out of a pocket of her jacket. Taking a swig she smirked at Danzo. Rescue fee is 1 million, oh and my prices are non-negotiable. She said before continuing with her prices. Danzo's eyes widened at each. You'll break us, he said. Tsunade shrugged. You want the job done and done right you pay. Half up front the rest when the job is done. Danzo looked nervous. Why are you like this Tsunade? Konoha is your home. My home SD the day you locked up an innocent boy for M. You know where Uzumaki is? He asked, his eyes widened in hope. No, I get a letter from him sometimes. I think he's in America or Canada. Homura snorted. Foreign lands. My home. Tsunade said. It's where these 4 are from. She gestured at the others. So be damn careful who you insult you old fart. They ked one Anbu and CS pled another. She took another drink from her flask. Now, the files concerning the Uchiha, the Hyuga Princess, the Sound Village and Orochimaru along with everything you have on Akatsuki. Tick-tock, the clock is running. The 3 Jinchuriki smiled as Tsunade annoyed the elders and the 5th Hokage. Danzo was regretting bringing in professionals, but he'd heard about their feats around the elemental nations. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't, he thought as he planned on having the Hyugas pay for the rescue mission. The Uchiha's retrieval would come out of the Uchiha clan funds. Now we just need to come up with the money for Orochimaru's bounty. He thought, wondering where he could cut corners and leave his own private funds untouched. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.